Hello and welcome to my presentation on Kenichi Yokono. Kenichi Yokono is a Japan-based artist. He is born, raised, and studied all in Kanazawa, where he is still living and even has a family. He was born in 1972, and he uses inspiration from modern-day horrors, as he likes to say, to show how he feels about everyday life. And he takes a lot of inspiration from a lot of horror movies, a lot of horror tropes, but kind of mixing it in with the everydayness. We'll see that in some of the work later on. He also likes to use red as a symbol within the work to help symbolize life, power, life force, and that horror that can come with it. You can see here in his 2019 piece, Bamboos, what he did was his specialty is, instead of printing on paper with a linoleum brick, he instead carves the linoleum and puts it into a frame, so the linoleum is the art itself instead of the paper. Here's Waiting for a New World from 2013. This one you can see a bit more of the horror aspect in his everyday, so a lot of the scenery, the background images, the house on the right, it's a lot of what some modern day Japan looks like, but then you have the death, the heart on the tree, what looks like almost like a little spirit at the bottom of the phone pole. One Piece Dress in 2019. Another one that is the linoleum brick as the art piece instead of a piece of paper. This one can kind of have a sense of dread, and the closer you look, the more you can see those little details kind of add to the horror, like what looks like almost to be a butterfly at first on the dress. In reality, it's a skull with wings. Doll Girl, where he directly manipulates the linoleum and gives it joints, so that you are able to see, or so you're able to move it. Silhouette of Flowers. There is a whole series of this with depicting variations of different silhouettes with a bunch of different flowers. Unfortunately, I was unable to find the exact date for this one, as it is part of a series and not all of the series have the dates. The smaller version of a garland from 2019. He also has a bigger version, and I want to say another two-piece garland. Once again, a linoleum, and it is displayed upon the wooden piece. You can see the rod coming through. Branch, 2019, another piece of the linoleum being the center instead of the paper. And this one is probably one of my favorites, purely because there's so much little detail that you can kind of look into. Like, there's a car on top, there's a man scaling the tree at the bottom, there's so many little intricacies, a T-Rex towards like about 1/3 of the way up. Here are some of the sources that I found a lot of his work in his bio on. I would say that, going back so you can see more of the artwork, I would say what I would like to see more of is if he can do anything with the paper itself, like more what he can do on paper. But I also love to see him just sculpture. Like, he's worked with a bunch of other artists in the sculpture scene, but it's the other artists that are doing the sculptures. He's doing a lot more of the printing aspect. So I love to see his take on a lot of those sculptures instead of just more of a 2D, even though it blends between 2D and 3D. I would love to see more of a 3D work, and I kind of would wish that some of his work would push a little bit more on the horror aspect, but I do very much enjoy the subtleties of the horror, the littleness, like in One Piece Dress, where it's almost that childlike wonder that you can get from the top of the wood, but also kind of that dread the farther down in the piece that you go. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you kind of enjoyed this and wanted to look a little bit more into his work.